Thanks for holding the hearing today on SPRO. And Dr. Moniz, thanks for appearing before us and for our conversation last night. We've talked a lot today about SPRO in relation to energy security and national security. I want to talk to you about another energy and national security issue, and that's having a domestic source of enriched uranium. You have said consistently we need to have a domestic source for our nuclear navy, for our nuclear arsenal, and particularly the production of tritium, which comes from lowly enriched uranium. Also for our commercial power plants, and of course for our efforts at non-proliferation around the world to be able to offer a source. I'm very concerned, as you know, about the fact that we seem to be pulling the plug on our ability to have that enrichment capability. I'm also concerned about the cleanup at the Piketon site. I was very concerned when warn notices were given to about 500 employees at the Piketon plant. We also have about 236 employees who are with the new technology, the American Centrifuge Project, who are affected by those warn notices. They could have been laid off by the end of this month. When I was at Piketon about 10 days ago, I got a chance to speak to employees there. They're frustrated, they're angry, understandably, so am I, particularly by the total surprise on the American Centrifuge announcement with regard to the new technology. For 3 years now, we've been requesting two things from the administration, two very simple things. One, tell us how much you need to complete the funding consistent with the commitments that you all have made. And second, give us a plan, a long-term plan for the funding of the cleanup. Unfortunately, the Department of Energy has done neither. In 2008, candidate Obama made specific commitments to support the plant and clean up the site quickly. He talked about the fact that when it goes long and you increase the costs, it has undue environmental risk, as he said. I totally agree with him. In 2009, DOE made a secretarial commitment to the community to accelerate the cleanup and complete the work by 2024. That was a secretarial commitment made to us. The DOE press release at the time said the agency was accelerating the cleanup, and among other things, in an effort to jumpstart the local economy and create jobs. The community is now being told that the cleanup will not be completed until 2044 at the earliest. They're saying between 2044 and 2050. The federal government has a responsibility, obviously, and a commitment to clean up this site. It's got to be cleaned up so that the site can be redeveloped. It's got to be cleaned up for the safety of the community, as the President said in his comments, and of course it has to do so to be sure we keep the commitment to the workforce and the local economy, which is already troubled. Last week, Congress passed a spending bill, as you know, which funded the government until December 11th, 2015. A number of us worked on this, and we got language in that bill that includes additional funding authority for the cleanup and for the American Centrifuge plant. For the layoff, keep the layoffs from happening while the CR continues in operation. If you could give me a yes or no answer on these questions, I would appreciate it. First, does DOE intend to use the funding authority we have in the CR to spend at the FY15 levels for the D&D work done at the gaseous diffusion plant to prevent the involuntary layoffs from happening on the cleanup side?
As we discussed, we are getting close to finalizing a plan where we think we can accomplish the avoidance of involuntary layoffs on the D&D work, hopefully for the entire fiscal year, but it does depend upon our receiving the House mark.
I'm talking about the CR. Are you saying that between now and December 11th there won't be layoffs?
Well, so the plan that we're finalizing is to yes, avoid involuntary layoffs during the CR. It entails risk for the rest of the year. I'm
going to get to the rest of the year.
Oh,
I just need a commitment, yes or no, on using the authority we've given you in the CR.
Again, we're finalizing the plan. We're getting very close. That is what I am.
Dr. Moniz, you can't even give us a commitment there won't be layoffs between now and December 11th?
I feel very confident that we will get there. I need a little more time to finish the plan and notify the contractor. But that's what we are working towards. No involuntary layoffs during the CR for the D&D work.
Well, that's a surprise, because I thought we had a commitment from you all during the CR, at least, not to have any layoffs. We've been given the authority. We worked hard to get this language in there.
The issue, again, the issue is one of risk, and that's why we want to be very open with you, as I was last night, that if we maintain...
Last night you were talking about next steps, which is after December 11th. You were not talking about the CR. Anyway,
no,
I'm concerned about this.
They are linked.
Well, obviously, we'd like to see. I was going to ask you about the commitment after that, and I appreciate your interest in suggesting last night that you would indeed be willing to put an anomaly for the
all I
long
can
term.
say, Senator, again, we are finalizing the plan that will not have involuntary layoffs in D&D through the CR, with the idea that that will continue for the rest of the year if we get the House mark. That's the situation.
That's, of course, what we all hope for, and beyond that, we need to have that commitment that in your budget for next year, which you're already preparing, which is going to be here in the House and Senate right after the first of the year, that you'll have adequate funding in there. Last year, you underfunded it by about $80 million. Can you give us a commitment that you will have in the President's budget for the next fiscal year 17, adequate funding for cleanup?
Well, I cannot discuss the FY17 budget at this stage. That's clear. We are trying to get adequate funding for all of our cleanup activities, and right now it's hard to fit everything into the budget box.
Your cleanup request in this last fiscal year was $80 million less than what was appropriated by Congress in FY15. And again, we're talking about extending the cleanup even further, more and more layoffs, if you all don't put into your budget the funding that you have committed to over time, not just the President, but the secretarial commitment. And we're talking about just keeping the funding at least level so there's some certainty and predictability at the site. I don't think it's too much to ask.
I have every intention, hope to do exactly that. But I cannot discuss the FY17 budget until we've gone through all the trade-offs and working with, as you know very well, with OMB on this.
So with regard to the cleanup itself, we cannot even get a commitment on the CR. That concerns me a lot, but a commitment for you to try to work with us on both the CR and beyond the CR with regard to having an anomaly in the longer-term budget, whether it's an omnibus or a CR or some combination. With regard to the new technology, the American Centrifuge Project, again, I was surprised, as were the workers at the site, to learn that you were planning to pull the plug on the new technology. This is the only domestic source. You have testified before this committee in the past that we need to have a domestic source of enriched uranium to support our nuclear weapons program and our nuclear naval reactor program. Have you changed your mind on that?
Absolutely not. And we are not pulling the plug on this technology. The program continues. The issue is that for the last 2 years, operating the pilot facility without spinning the pilot machines, we have learned things of an operational nature. We were able to resolve a technical issue with the machines, but two things led to that, and I have to say, unfortunate. I completely agree for the site decision. Namely, number one is that scrubbing really hard on the need for enriched uranium using American origin technology, we were able to extend the time frame for that very, very dramatically, something I'm happy to come in and discuss with you in the days ahead. Secondly, the technical judgment made is that continuing to spin the machines will not give us any more technical knowledge on the technology that we will preserve. We are not pulling the plug. But right now, it's hard to justify taxpayers $50 million for something that we think will have little to no technical return.
Secretary, my time is up. Just quickly, let me make this point very clearly. There are 120 centrifuges spinning. This is a test site, as you say. It's application. It can go to commercial grade because of that. You are pulling the plug on that entirely. $6 billion of taxpayer funding into that. To have to reconstruct that is going to be enormously costly. You said you'd only do it after issuing a report that was due to Congress in April. You never gave us the report. I got the report last night, after you already made your decision 2 weeks ago without informing us. We had to hear about it from the press. I think those 326 workers deserve to know what's going on, but also our country deserves what's going on. We're not going to have the ability to say that we can enrich uranium in this country with a domestic source. I think that's frightening. I think it's bad for our national and economic security and our energy security, certainly consistent with what we talked about in this road today. Thank you, Madam Chair.